And we have, any guesses on how much we have as domestic tourism in India? And what's the volume that we don't even, we often forget? Anybody, any guesses? Any of you students, give me that number and you'll get a certificate for having been the best one prepared for the induction. Right, okay, fine. Nobody knows it, no certificate. Please prepare the certificate for me. 650 million domestic travel. Perhaps if you put this number, you'd be 30, 40 countries put together if you consider that in Indian domestic tourism is such a huge market. And we don't have to worry about the foreign tourist arrivals at all, as much, only for the sake of the foreign exchange, etc., where, you know, sometimes so unpredictable. Because I met a French teacher last week, and I asked him, so what is your country's perception of India? Then he doesn't speak English too fluently, but he said, oh, we were called into the French embassy and we were told that India now there's rape going on, you know. So the French people were called, and this is the message that they were given. So what happens is, they have given these pictures. We are still a country that we have mud roads with snake charmers on either side, camelbacks, and elephants giving ashirvad to people, you know, and probably our schools have tin roofs, and our colleges just have some sheds around, and we are all in that. So when he came to Manipal, he said the French embassy gave us such a poor image of the country that, to be honest, we don't have such universities in France. He said, I have not seen the scale and structure of Manipal University even in France. So you all must understand as adults that there's so much of lobbying going on, that there are political dimensions to why people portray certain countries so poorly, because everybody's fighting for some huge space somewhere, and everybody wants tourism to flow in. And some tourism index will say Montenegro is the country that has the highest per capita tourism inflow of a country that is probably the size of Manipal, or probably the size of Manipal and Udupi put together, you know. And then you do some weird calculation and say it has the highest tourism per capita flow and income and things like that. So you're in a country that has 51% of the population below how many years? 19 years. There's no other country in the world that has a population of 51% in the age groups of 19 and below. And so you're there, and so apparently India is one of the youngest population nation in the entire world. And that's one of the privileges we have being in this country, because that means lots of opportunities. Lots of opportunities. And I'll give you an example of what you mean by opportunities. Manipal has the largest per capita telephones. Manipal has the largest per capita ATMs. You walk, you slip and fall, and you'll find an ATM. By the time you lose your purse in one ATM, you'll find another ATM to pick up some more money. So that's the dynamism and ecosystem that you're going to live in the 600 acres. There are lots that this place has, and it's 600 acres, huge ecosystem. Everything survives because of the university. There's a predominant youthful university culture, and learning happens because you're in an environment that is so diverse and so energized and so charged. And not to say that you don't learn well if you're amongst the older people, but you as adults choose, you have adult intelligence and adult emotions to realize, choose, pick from what's happening in the environment, and to live happy lives and make yourselves joyful, right? And coming back to some of the statistics, do you know which state received the maximum foreign tourist arrivals? Rajasthan? Okay, even I used to think it was Rajasthan, but then I said, let me believe what reports have to say. It's Kerala? Goa? No, the report, I took a report which is, I believe, very authentic. It says Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu had the largest foreign tourist arrivals, And Tamil Nadu has the largest domestic tourism. So if somebody is looking at opportunities, then you have to read data. And like you say, people who are statisticians have this huge joke going about statistics and data. They say statistics is lies, damn lies, and statistics. But then when you have to begin with statistics to make a decision. So statistics tells you that it was Tamil Nadu that had the highest tourism inflow. And last year, New York was the city that stood at 81% occupancy, year-round 81%. So New York had the highest occupancy year-round. However, in India, it's right now not even 60%, entire country. But that doesn't disillusion us to believe that there's nothing happening. Now, if you're going to be a doctor, you hope and pray that people fall sick, right? If you're going to be an engineer, you'll probably hope and pray that lots of buildings collapse. But when we are in the industry, we are going to create opportunities for joy, entertainment, and happiness. So you're in a profession where the moment somebody is sick and the moment somebody's house goes and washed away, or somebody's building a house and needs to stay somewhere, you're going to give them the opportunity to enjoy their time in life by creating these spaces, wellness resorts, mid-scale, economy, you name it, homestays, whatever. So there's always an opportunity where people, after all the illness and after all the spending they do, they need some place to go and recharge, energize, revive. And the market is open from 800 rupees to a lakh and a half, or the ITC Gardenia's Peacock Suite, which is 6 lakh rupees a day. 6 lakh rupees a day, and is predominantly used only by Vijay. So if you have a dream that you want to stay in that Peacock Suite, you can save up some money and say, one day I'd go and stay in ITC Gardenia, which I'm sure all of you can, or you'd have an empire like Vijay. And not to say that you can, all of you can, okay? And I dream that, and I hope that all of you do, okay? So some information, and I want to give you a small overview on what is going to challenge you in the next few decades. I mean, you're going to be around for a couple of decades in the industry. Then you may wish to retire or relax because you would have made a lot of money, and then after that you need to relax. So you have to work hard, and there are only 3 things that are surviving for the industry now. There were days, I'm going to show you a clipping of Mr. Y.C. Diveshwar where he named the 3 things. He said there are 3 things that leverage the industry today, and he said it was location, location, and location. So today, if I'm going to give you a message on what is it that's going to make you survive, anybody has a clue? What is it? Any 3 things? I think I heard it. No? Okay. There's just one thing. It's not 3. It's just technology, technology, and technology. And if you're not going to be conversant with technology, you're again going to be lost. So whatever you learn in the next 4 years would be with the cutting edge technology that we would provide to you all the time, trying to update you. Probably we're the only institute in the entire country that has we're having the Opera now, yeah, and the latest version, and no other college has it. It costs us a lot of money to pay the annual fee for that, etc. We're the only institute perhaps in the entire country that has an EBSCO database of how many files, madam? How many EBSCO? EBSCO and Science Direct, Emerald, etc., for which we almost pay like 20 lakh rupees as an annual. But what happens is, when I go back after 4 years and ask my students, how many articles did you read? They'd say, which article, madam? Or what is Emerald? Or what is EBSCO? So, see, we can take the horse to water. We cannot make it drink. But all faculty here, we all believe that all of you are horses and we want to make you fly. But some of the horses remain stubborn because they're scared to fly. But all of you should dream to fly. That's very important because you will fall, you will get hurt, but you have to learn to rise. And that's what is when we say the risking. Because the environment is full of change. And if you still remain in an environment that is older than what is contemporary, then you're lost, because the environment will pick up the ones who want to change and who have changed. So you must remember that you have to keep changing. And when I say changing, people remember this word and they'll keep talking about, they'll tell their parents, principal told us about change. So now we've all got to do this. And so tell your parents, please send me $20,000, I'm not talking about the material changes. I'm talking of the intellectual changes that you should undergo in your thought processes and in the way you learn and in the way you energize yourselves, the way you research, etc., which is very, very important. Now, some things that I wanted to say that are important for you for the future is, there would be a lot of movement in the novo-rich class. That is, the Indian economy is the only country where there's a very fast movement from the poor to the middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, and so on. So there's such a huge potential when these class sections are moving. And then once these sections are moving due to internal economy, there's a huge need and an urge to show off that they've got into the next level. So I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you have come in today, yesterday, today, day before yesterday by flight? And how many of you it's just the first time on a flight? Students basically. Yeah. No, don't feel ashamed. I'm going to show you a picture of Vaisi Devesh was saying what he felt when raise your hands. First time? Right. Now, if I ask this question next year, or say next year, probably there would be nobody who says it is my first time. And if I ask your entire the group sitting here, how many of you visited or stayed in a 5-star hotel one night? At least a night. Just raise your hands. Now, if you look at that, that is small. So next year if I ask, probably everybody is going to. So that's the moment that you're going to see that everybody in this experience economy is going to say, I've got this money, so I'm going to experience it. So it's an experience economy. And it's not about showing off, it's not about ego, it's about saying, I've earned it, I've made it, I deserve it. So that's the market that you're all going to handle in the next couple of years. And you've got to learn how to identify these, and how it's going to be dominated is, I'm just going to quickly read a couple, though I'll try to talk in between. The next generation will be motivated by customized technologies in the hotels and architecture and service elements. Everybody wants to walk into a hotel today where they want an non-intrusive service. They're going to have, they don't want to pay that extra money for the doorman who opens the door, the luggage guy who picks up. Then you got to pay 50 rupees to the doorman, 50 rupees to the bellboy, 50 rupees to the guy who brings you the food in the room, and then it goes on. And then you're saying, should I pay, shouldn't I pay? Because we're not like America where it's all put under the bill. In America, etc., you don't have to tip anybody, but then when you write your bill towards the end, you got to write 11% and 10%, and which is mandatory. So you're going to have less intervention technologies that allow people to transact in environments without much contact. That cost, of course, will be reduced on you because you're not going to have that labor interface that's going to increase the cost. And like Mr. Sharma was talking about, the room inventories, 180,000 rooms in the next couple of years. And if you look at rooms to employee ratios, in the up levels it is almost 1:3, and if you go lower levels it is about 1:2.8. It'll average out at around 1:2, looking at the branded segment, which means if we're looking at a 60,000 room inventory that's growing in the next couple of years, you're talking about 60,000 into 2, that's going to be 1,20,000. Quick If you look at the 1.5 lakhs, all the, it's talking of the total employment. It's not talking about the managerial segment. So you'll be operations people, mid-level people, and the managerial level. The managerial level only occupies about 11 to 12%. If you look at the workforce that is needed for the next 5 years, and if you're saying it's going to be around 60,000 people, 11% only will be the. So are you in that 6,000 by the time it's 5 years? Dream to be in that 6,000, which is that 11%. By which time you should have been through your frontline service supervisory level and ready for assistant managership or departmental assistant managership or an executive assistant role. This is what we are dreaming and training you for. But you have to go through the grind. You have to rise through the lines. If you didn't know how to get a plate cleaned and a glass washed, you're not going to be a good general manager. And I promise you, all the parents, please don't ever dream that these children are going to be general managers as soon as they get out of this place. None of them are going to be. It takes how many years, sir? 20. It's reducing, but our days, I think it took 30. Mr. Sharma being probably a decade younger than me, it took him 20. Nowadays, people are reaching managership in, say, 12 to 15. 12 to 15. In your days, it might get shrunk further. We hope so. But the problem, the thing I'm telling you is, don't aspire always to stop with being the top of an individual SBO or a unit. You have to dream big. Dream to be having your own organization, having your own, be the CEO of a company, etc., or lead or be an entrepreneur. And then the second point I have is, you need to understand tourist motivations from a cultural context and the economies of the world. See, a tourist, when I say that, you'll have what we call the backpackers. You know what a backpacker is? Where do you find the most backpackers in India? Guess? Goa. Okay. Perhaps. We don't really know. No, there's no data that tells you that most backpackers go to Goa. It could be Kerala. It could be Jaipur. Because I've seen a lot of backpackers in Rajasthan also. So we don't really know. But it can range from being backpackers to a private jet person. It could be somebody who comes in through a private jet because his economy, his country, he's rich. And then you have a group of people who just dream to see the world and spend the least amount of money. They just want to see the world, but they want to spend very little. So there's this huge scope when it comes to the way it's spread. Then very important now is you need to learn to understand the issues of branded lifestyle, design and delivery. That's a huge thing. They're going to ask you, what are the kinds of water you have in your hotel? So how many waters do you know? You've heard of Bisleri and Aqua and what are the others? No, this is what you've heard of, but that's not the one that they're talking about. They want you to give them a water menu, right? And they're willing to pay for it. It's flavored water, it's water from the natural springs of France, it's from Russia, it's from the Volga, it's from here and there. And you're expected to have it in your hotel, in Manipal or wherever. How you logistically manage that is your problem because that person is willing to pay the price. He's saying, I want it. That's all I want. He may ask for 100 bottles because he wants to have a bath in it. But if you didn't have 100 bottles, it's a problem. So how do you identify these motivations of these people who want this huge cultural disparity where there's some want very basic and some want the most luxurious? All right. Then we have technologically comfortable entertainment solutions and experiences. If I'm French, I don't want to see Jaya TV and Vijay TV and I want to know whether you have that. I'm French. I want to still see something that's from my country. And do you have it? Are you ready to switch on for him to his country's wavelengths and get? I don't know whether Tata Sky would really cover everything across the world. He could be from he could be from Botswana, he could be from any part of the world, but he wants to be culturally, his entertainment also has to be suiting his culture, his country, and his language. Language, of course, being... mostly we have misplaced information that all tourists speak English, or all tourists understand English, or all tourists want everything in English. It's not true. If you start going into the industry in the branded segment, like Mr. Sharma was saying, and start looking at the number of people who didn't speak English, you'll be surprised. Who didn't speak a word of English, and they are your most valuable customers, right? Provision of health facilities, as in gyms, spas, and healthcare facilities, is going to be almost mandatory now in future. Delivery of services through eco-sensitive products and eco-responsive products, which we have already told you that ITC is number one in its carbon footprints, mileages, etc., and recovery systems. Providing culture-sensitive food and beverage solutions in the menu. So for the chefs, how do you identify the culture sensitivity of foods? As we are growing, you find a lot of foods that are new that are coming in, and a lot of foods that were existing for over years being written off as an allergen or as a not so good for health, and suddenly everybody will tell you, oh, eat a lot of almonds, it's good for you, that everybody starts eating almonds. Then somebody comes up with a scientific study that says eat walnuts, and then everybody starts eating walnuts. Then there's this huge conspiracy theory or whatever on broccoli. People say don't take broccoli, some says take broccoli. Have you studied? As a chef, you got to study what's the truth behind these. Is it true that broccoli is good, bad, or what? Because when research articles do come out, please do remember that they come out from the countries in which they produce them. If walnuts is produced extensively in one country, that country will produce a research to say that walnut is the only ingredient that you can survive on forever. And then somebody who's growing anything, broccoli will say broccoli is the only thing that you can live the entire day and entire night, and you can live a happy life and antioxidant and no problems, etc. Then comes milk. Then everybody will say milk is essential. If you talk to doctors, they would say we are probably the only living species on earth that continues to drink milk after the weaning period. All other animal species do not drink milk after the weaning period. They drink only for a couple of months. And so these theories will keep hitting you. How do you rationalize this when you're producing your menus and your items in the hotels is important. You have to research, get your statistics right. And the next one is very, very important, robust security solutions and safety solutions. Everybody is scared. When does a terrorist hit the hotel, or when does this hotel catch fire, or when do I lose my jewelry in a hotel, or am I safe from assault? Would I slip and fall? Would I break my back? You know, so all these things are very paramount at the back of people's mind. Maintaining clinically clean and sanitized HACCP-controlled environments. I was talking to a parent yesterday. In our olden days, cooking and the kitchen was a ritual, right? I remember as a child, we used to wash our kitchens with every day, night, with water, lots of water, and there'll be a huge drain in the corner. So everything has to be put up, and the kitchens used to be washed with water, and then a little bleach and washed again. Nobody does it anymore. Your kitchens are not designed to be washed. And then it was a ritual. The women of the family never entered the kitchen without a bath. And if you entered and you didn't have a bath, they'll shoo you off. Go, 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 have a bath and come. Don't dirty the kitchen. But today, in a scientific environment, you have America that decides to put up a model called HACCP, right? What is HACCP? Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, which is a technical thing about scrub your fingers, be sanitized, wear gloves, wear this, you know, all that. But then when we had it all traditionally, we ignore it. But when it's packaged by an American, we start believing it. And it's packaged and it's sold across the world. You have to follow it. But you have to follow it, right? So that's going to be another one that you're going to be worried about through your lives. Managing sales through social media network. Do I need to explain that anymore? Your trip advisors and what is the Travelocity and Make My Trip and Twitters and blogs and all that, how you can make or break a company. So I must tell you an incident, which an episode that was, any news? Yeah. An episode that a gentleman, Dr. Srikanth Beldona, gave us in a last message to the final years when he was here. He was from the University of Delaware. He said that there was a not so well-known singer who was carrying his guitar on a United flight of America. And he requested, can I carry this guitar with me? And the airline said, no, you can't carry it. You have to put it on the cargo. So he said, okay, fine. They put it. Yeah, so, okay, we'll have a small interruption now because I'm waiting for a very special message from an alumni who promised to be online and speak to you all. And that is Chef Vikas Khanna. He's calling in on Skype from Mumbai. And he'd like to address you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
I can.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay.
How are you, Vikas?
Very good. Very good. How are you?
Okay. You have about 500 people watching you right now.
Okay. Thank you.
130 students and more parents, perhaps grandparents, sisters, brothers.
Wow.
We're happy to see you and thank you for coming online.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. And can you see the audience?
I have an idea because I love this room.
Right. Okay, you're on.
Yes. Thank you.
You're on. Can you speak to them?
Yes. Congratulations, everyone, for being here. Wow.
Okay. Say something kids to hear you.
I can hear you without you talking. I can understand the heartbeat right now. I just want to share one very interesting thing when I came to Manipal. My first time when I was in Manipal was for an interview in which that principal, late Mr. Suresh, he wanted to experiment on me. I was a kid from Amritsar who had never been to big city. And I did not like discussion like all smart people. And because I was very scared of crowd, it's hard to believe now. But I did not give my group discussion and came back home to a Goa's house in Noida. And she told me, why did you come back? I said, because everybody's talking in English. I'm a border, yeah, so I came back. So she said that you've lost the game. You will again have to go back to what your father says. Means doing nothing, and you don't. So I went back to Moorish. I went back to the place the group discussion was happening, and everybody had left. So I had lost my ticket of entering workshop. But I went to the principal's hotel, that was Moorish Shelter, and I told the receptionist that I need to speak to him, and I started crying. So this is my last chance to do something in my life. So she connected me. An interesting thing about hospitality is compassion, right? That lady had so much of compassion when she saw me. She broke the rule. She called a guest in the room. I don't recommend you doing that, but sometimes listen to your heart, which tells you a true story. So she called the principal and I speak to him and I said, sir, I spoke in Punjabi. And I said, I'm very sorry, I couldn't attend the group discussion because I was very scared that anything I'll say would be a joke. So he comes down and said, what do you do? I said, I have a small stall in which I sell chola bhutures and paneer pakoras and spring roll.